Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will get lost in the pages of A Girl of the Limberlost by Gene Stratton-Porter. Gene Stratton-Porter's A Girl of the Limberlost is a heartwarming early 20th century American novel about perseverance, self-discovery, and the power of nature. Published in 1909, it is set in the Limberlost Swamp of Indiana and revolves around Elnora Comstock, who faces hardships in her quest for education. Her deep connection to nature, combined with the emotional complexity of her family relationships, offers a profound reflection on resilience, love, and personal growth. Plot summary: Elnora Comstock awoke in the small cabin she shared with her mother, Mrs. Comstock, near the edge of the Limberlost Swamp. It was the first day of high school, and she was determined to succeed. However, her heart was heavy. Elnora's mother, bitter and withdrawn since her husband's death in the swamp when Elnora was a baby, had never been kind. Mrs. Comstock resented Elnora's desire to attend school and refused to help her with supplies or clothing. Instead, Elnora was sent into the world dressed in ill-fitting calico, heavy shoes, and carrying her lunch in a tin pail. At school, the other students, well-dressed and comfortable in their surroundings, looked at Elnora with curiosity and disdain. Her shabby appearance and ignorance of the city's ways left her feeling out of place. In the classroom, her embarrassment deepened when she realized she needed to buy her own books and pay for tuition, something her mother never told her. When the bell rang and she walked home, exhausted and humiliated, the day's events seemed like a nightmare. Elnora found a friend in her neighbor Wesley Sinton, who had always cared for her like a father. That evening, after seeing her cry in despair, Wesley and his wife, Margaret, decided to help Elnora. They bought her new shoes, a lunchbox, and other supplies without her knowledge. The next morning, while Elnora struggled to find a way to buy books and pay tuition, Margaret Sinton delivered the much-needed supplies to Elnora, bringing light to her dark day. Despite her hardships, Elnora was resourceful. Her greatest passion was nature, particularly the moths of the Limberlost. With the help of Freckles, a boy who had once lived near the swamp, she had learned how to collect and preserve the magnificent creatures. Elnora knew that these specimens had value, and after a visit to a bookshop to inquire about second-hand books, she noticed a sign in a bank window. A local woman, known as the Bird Woman, was willing to pay for butterflies, moths, and other nature specimens. Elnora's heart lifted, knowing she had something to offer in exchange for the money she desperately needed. At lunch, she mustered the courage to visit the Bird Woman, who welcomed her with open arms. Upon seeing Elnora's moths, particularly the rare Cecropia moths, the Bird Woman was overjoyed and agreed to buy them. She even offered to visit the Limberlost with Elnora after school to see more of her collection. With the money earned from the moths, Elnora bought her school books and tuition, securing her future at school. As the weeks passed, Elnora's confidence grew. She excelled in her studies, and her natural intelligence and determination began to shine through. Slowly, her classmates warmed to her, especially after she started wearing the new clothes Margaret had made for her. However, her relationship with her mother remained strained. Mrs. Comstock continued to resent Elnora's pursuit of education, clinging to her bitterness over the past. The Limberlost, once a refuge for Elnora, was now a battleground between the young girl's dreams and her mother's resentment. Elnora's life took a turn when she met Philip Ammon, a young man who had come to the Limberlost to recover from an illness. Philip was captivated by Elnora's knowledge of nature and her beauty, though Elnora remained unaware of her charm. Together, they explored the swamp, collecting moths and learning from one another. Philip, engaged to a wealthy woman named Edith Carr, found himself drawn to Elnora's kindness and intelligence. Edith, beautiful but spoiled, represented everything that Elnora was not, and the contrast between the two women became apparent as Philip's feelings for Elnora deepened. While Philip admired Elnora's inner strength, Edith, who had once captured his heart, was possessive and selfish. Edith's jealousy flared when she learned of Elnora's connection with Philip. She sought to reclaim him by forcing Philip to choose between her and Elnora. In the end, Philip realized that Edith's beauty and wealth could not compare to Elnora's purity of heart. He broke off the engagement, choosing Elnora as the woman he truly loved. Meanwhile, Elnora faced a turning point with her mother. Mrs. Comstock had spent years grieving her husband, blaming Elnora for his death because he had drowned on the night Elnora was born. But the truth of his death, long hidden, finally came to light. Wesley Sinton revealed that Mrs. Comstock had idolized her husband without truly knowing him, and that he had drowned in a reckless attempt to rescue Timber. With this revelation, Mrs. Comstock realized that she had been unfair to Elnora all these years, holding on to grief and anger that had no true foundation. In a profound moment of reconciliation, Mrs. Comstock begged for Elnora's forgiveness. The girl, ever kind-hearted, embraced her mother, and for the first time, the two shared a genuine bond of love. With her mother's support, Elnora was able to fully step into her own life, free from the weight of past misunderstandings. In the end, Elnora's persistence paid off. She achieved her dreams of education, overcame the deep wounds of her family history, and found love in Philip Ammon. The Limberlost, once a place of sorrow and struggle, became a sanctuary of hope and renewal. Through the beauty of the natural world and the kindness of those around her, Elnora's life blossomed, much like the moths she so carefully nurtured. That's a wrap for today, but there's more to explore in Limberlost series by Stratton-Porter. Check the description or Celsius 233 to keep the adventure going. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Stratton-Porter's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.